guys, welcome back to another video. It's your man Jay Will. This is my revisited video for the Moto G4. Now there is a Moto G4 Plus, which has a fingerprint reader and a different camera, a higher megapixel camera, and laser autofocus, I believe. And you can get it in different higher gig RAM, memory. You can just kind of get it a little bit higher. But this 2 gig version with the 16 gigs on board is more than enough because it has adaptable storage, so I can put in an SD card and up the memory. But the 2 gigs of RAM in here is working fine for me. I haven't had any problems because it's running stock Android pretty much. So that's not going to be an issue for me. Now, revisiting a phone I've used for 4 months almost now, it's still here. And I know there's a lot of people out there that have the Moto G4 and this is their only device. And there's some people that might have just purchased it. Well, I got to tell you, you made a great choice. The Moto G4 is just for the money that you're paying. I kind of wonder why a person would not buy it. There's several reasons why I would recommend this phone at this point in the game. The first reason is always going to be the obvious, which is price. Now, this phone performs very well, just very fluid, very fast, no issues with it. And you have stock Android at a very affordable price. The price is a no-brainer when it comes to this phone. Just get it. If you're looking at price and you want stock Android, always look to the Motorola line. Don't look to Blue and all these other companies that kind of appear to be. This is actually stock with the addition of the Motorola gestures, and that's it. So stock experience, you need to look towards the Moto line because the Moto line is actually getting updates as well. This phone will go up to 7. It goes up to Android 7. They've already announced that it's going to get it. They're working on it. So alongside the price, you do get stock Android, and you can customize it with launchers if you want to. But that's one of the reasons that I would tell a person to get this phone over others is the price. It's just a no-brainer. It's very affordable, and you're getting good performance. Now, another reason why I would tell a person to shift towards this Moto line, this Moto G4 in particular, is that it works on all carriers. I just took my Verizon SIM out of here, popped in the T-Mobile SIM, and boom, services are there again. Didn't have to reboot the phone, nothing. It just switches to that provider. Now, it does have an SD card slot. I think I mentioned that, but it has an SD card slot, a 5.5-inch 1080p display. The speaker is really good. The speaker is actually right here. There's no rear speaker or anything. No. So that is a huge plus. Now this phone has the headphone jack on the top there, as you can see, and then the charge and sync is on the bottom, and then the microphone is on the front right there, which I think is a good idea. Like, why wouldn't you want it there? And then the other noise cancellation is on the back. So those are 2 reasons why I would tell you to get this phone. It works on all carriers. It's very affordable, and also another reason would be the performance. It's just no issues with this phone at all. And I have what's called, quote unquote, the lower end model, which is 2 gigs of RAM. But it still packs a very solid CPU in there. And it has a Snapdragon 617. Now that's a processor that a lot of people, probably feel like is not going to be good. But the 600 series is fantastic on battery. This has a 3000 milliamp hour battery in here. But I gotta tell you, this thing lasts for a long time. You should get some great screen on time. You shouldn't have to charge this every day. I don't charge it every day. I just think it's a huge plus for the phone. Having the 600 series and then having the 3000 milliamp hour battery in there with a 1080p display, that's a huge win. It's just one of those things that is a bonus with the package. It's bad enough that they gave us a very low price tag, and then you can now customize this in Moto Maker as well. So I have the white version here, and I want to get that wood back, but they're not just selling it. Like, I'm trying to buy it, but I can't get them to just, I don't know a way to just buy it. But if I do, you're gonna see that wood back on there. Now, looking at this device as far as hardware goes, a lot of people will buy a phone based on the hardware, and that's okay. It's okay to buy a phone based on the hardware. That's not something you don't want to buy it on hardware alone, but you want to have a phone that you think is good looking in the end. You don't want to buy a phone that's hideous to your eyes and then you have to keep it for however long. This phone has a 5.5-inch display, but it's super small in the hand. It's a very compact phone. I really like the look of it. Either the white or the black, it doesn't matter. The black actually looks a little bit more elegant. Normally the white phones look a little classy, but I kind of like the color of the black one a little bit better. The black one also has a soft touch back, but I like the back. This has a textured back, and I like the back on this one. So if they would have done the black one with this kind of textured back, it would have been good. But nonetheless, there's a whole bunch of pluses. I don't understand, I guess I want to say, why a person wouldn't buy, and I guess it's just personal choice. But when it comes down to cold hard facts, Motorola is doing the best at having a phone in every category for each type of customer. Now, you've probably heard me say that in a number of videos, but it's true. Motorola has a phone for every type of customer. Put that into perspective now. You got to understand what I'm saying. So this is for a phone. This is probably for a person who wants a lot of good performance and somewhat high end or somewhat faster, super performer, or more options like a better camera, a bigger screen, a 1080p screen, something like that, bigger battery. But then they have the Moto G4 Play. For that person who doesn't want to spend over $150 to $300, the Moto G4 Play you can get it for $150 unlocked, or you can find it on Verizon prepaid for as low as $65 sometimes at Best Buy. You just have to look for the deals. But I will tell you that it's if I had to choose a company who's doing it the right way outside of like Google and Apple and Samsung, it would definitely be Motorola/Lenovo. And I just said it a minute ago, they have a phone for everyone. You've got the Moto G4 Play all the way up to the Moto Z Force. And the Moto Z Play and the Moto Z, you already know how I feel about those phones. Just sick, ridiculous, great bang for buck, a lot of features. Now, I guess not so much features, but a lot of great performance packed in that little price. I don't know how good the Moto Z Force's battery is. I've heard that it's pretty good, but it's definitely not as good as the Z Play. But this phone right here, the battery in this is not good as the Z Play either. But all I can say is that the 600 series processors have great battery. So I just wanted to revisit this phone real quick here. I won't do a long drawn out video too much about it because the phone is good. It's performing well. It is going to get Android 7.0. They've already announced that. I've actually posted on Google+. I don't know a reason why I would not recommend this phone to a person. And some people say, well, I don't like stock, or stock is boring, but they're using an iPhone. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. I've heard people say that. Oh, stock Android is boring. Well, the iPhone OS is really boring on a phone. I think the iOS is better on a tablet. I've always said that, and I stand firm on that. But stock Android, the advantage you have over buying an iPhone, like an iPhone 6S. Somebody might ask this question, Jay, should I get it? I think they have asked me that before. Should I get an iPhone 6S or 6S Plus or the Moto G4? Well, the Moto G4, they're different operating systems. However, I gave you a little bumpy cam, didn't I? My bad. The Moto G4 is considered like stock Android, and obviously the iPhones are pretty much just their base OS, no customizations allowed. But with Android, obviously there's customizations allowed. So if you don't like how this looks, you literally can go into the App Store and get something else, either buy it or whatever you want to do. You can change it. So that's just something you have to consider. I wouldn't recommend the iPhone 6S or the 6S Plus or the 6 or 6 Plus, not even the SE or any of those. I wouldn't recommend any of those over this phone because you're getting so much more with this device. Now, the only exception to that rule is that I know that Apple's going to update those phones regardless. I don't have to wait a long time. When the updates come out next year or whenever they do an update, all their devices get it. That is one of the main pluses, and that's just what it is. I'm happy to have Apple for that sense. But other than that, the price tag on iPhones don't warrant the purchase over something like this. It's just not a good purchase if you just need a phone. Don't go out and buy the iPhone 6s over this if you just need a phone that's going to work and perform well. And this gets updates, but we don't know. There's no consistency, I guess, at this point that I can see. Like Android 7.0 comes out and all phones don't get it. There are a ton of phones that still might be running KitKat. You see, so that's kind of one of the downsides if you don't have a Google device. And Motorola is the closest thing that you can get to a Nexus device right now that's going to get updates and things like that. This is the closest you get, buddy. This is it. So if you can't afford a Nexus or you don't want to buy a Nexus, get a Moto line device. You'll definitely get updates. They're not as consistent, like I said, but you'll still get them. And the performance is going to match, if not be a little bit under. So there you have it. Revisiting the Moto G4. It's just, yeah. I'm actually taking this on my trip with me too. So yeah, this is one that you should consider still. Having owned this since July, you should consider it. I think you will not be disappointed, especially if you're talking about getting a Pixel. I can't recommend a person because the Pixel pricing, even the small Pixel, is really expensive. So I'm not going to tell a person, yeah, okay, the Pixel does outperform this phone. So what? And it comes down to the facts. Most people don't want to spend a lot of money on a phone. So I'm not going to tell a person run out and get the Pixel over this, especially a non-techie person. I was going to tell them, hey, you can get pretty much the same performance, a little bit less. There's no lag here, but still, this is a phone to be reckoned with. In 2016, on into 2017, possibly 2018, depends on how they do the updates. So it's your man Jay Will. I will see you guys in the next video. Stay tuned for more. How should I end? I guess I'll just say peace. Peace.